Hello, I'm Marian C. Saras. I, together with Mariel John C. Saras, will be presenting the report entitled Acquiring and Preparing Human Resources, Planning for Recruitment of Human Resources. I am tasked to present the planning part. The process of human resource planning. Organizations should carry out human resource planning so as to meet the business objectives and gain a competitive advantage over competitors. Human resource planning compares the present state of the organization with its goals for the future. It then identifies what changes it must make in its human resources to meet those goals. Human resource management uses forecasting to help manage human resources. Forecasting attempts to determine the supply and demand for various types of human resources to predict areas within the organization where there will be a labor shortages or surpluses. There are three major steps to forecasting: forecasting the demand for labor, determining labor supply, determining labor surpluses or shortages. Here we see a graph of how forecasting works. HR takes historical data as inputs to create informed estimates for future trends, such as labor demands and supply, to determine if the organization will have a surplus or shortage of labor. The HR will then set goals and plans to solve the perceived surplus or shortage of labor by creating a program which will then be evaluated and implemented. Forecasting the demand for labor. This can be done by trend analysis, constructing and applying statistical models that predict labor demands for the next year, given relatively objective statistics from the previous year. Or lending indicators, objective measures that accurately predict future labor demands. Now this slide shows an example of what a trend analysis graph looks like, while this slide shows an example of a leading indicators graph. Let's now go to forecasting for the labor supply, which uses transitional matrix. Transitional matrix is a chart that lists job categories held in one period and shows the proportion of employees in each of those job categories in a future period. It answers two questions. Where did people in each job category go? And where did people now in each job category come from? This slide shows an example of what a transitional matrix looks like. As you can see, the job categories are listed on the table as well as the years the data were collected. Determining labor surplus or shortage. Based on the forecasts from labor demand and supply, the planner can compare the figures to determine whether there will be a shortage or surplus of labor for each job category. Determining expected shortages and surpluses allows the organization to plan how to address these challenges. Goal setting and strategic planning. The purpose of setting specific numerical goals is to focus attention on the problem and provide a basis for measuring the organization's success in addressing labor shortages and surpluses. The goal should come directly from the analysis of supply and demand. For each goal, the organization must choose one or more human resource strategies. Organizations should retain and attract employees who provide core competency. What makes it better than competitors? Here are some options for reducing a surplus. The organization can do downsizing, pay reductions, demotions, transfers, work sharing, hiring freeze, natural attrition where employees leave the workforce for personal reasons, early retirement, or retraining. On the other hand, organizations can apply these options for avoiding a shortage, overtime, temporary employees, outsourcing, retrained transfers, turnover reductions, new external hires, and technological innovations. The table shows the speed results of each options previously presented to solve the organization's labor surplus or shortage. It also presents the amount of suffering each option causes to its human resource. In summary, the first step in human resource planning is personnel forecasting. Through trend analysis and good judgment, the planner tries to determine the supply and demand for various human resources. The next step is to determine the labor demand for workers in various job categories. Analysis of a transitional matrix can help the planner identify which job categories can be filled internally and where high turnover is likely. Here are our references. Why is forecasting an important part in the planning process of human resource recruitment?